Good day, everyone, and welcome to this segment on maternal mental health. My name is Paula Alphonse. I am the G100 Oneness and Wisdom Canada Country Chair, and I will be the moderator for this conversation. Today's session highlights the importance of addressing the mental health needs of mothers to ensure that the well being of both the mothers and their children. Our hope for this conversation today is to simply have an exchange as sisters and mothers on maternal mental health and well being, in the hope that by doing so, we may somewhat reduce some of the stigma surrounding maternal mental health challenges. In the end, encouraging open discussion around these issues is what matters to us. As I mentioned, my name is Paula Alphonse, and I'll introduce now the two guest speakers. We have Dr. Avlo Kita Sharma, who is the G100 Oneness and Wisdom Punjab Chair, State Chair. And in her everyday life, she manages guidance center, runs career guidance seminar for high school students, as well as group counseling session for wives of Indian Army. And our second guest, welcome, Dr. Sharma. Our second guest is the Dr. Ritu Forwani. Apologies if I misspelled your name, because sometimes, she is the Karnataka State Chair. And while she has been on a yoga journey for quite a few years, over a decade, she's a breath master and a corporate wellness consultant, offering stress management and team building activities in corporate sectors. She's also a proud mother of twins and a social activist who believes that good girls don't make history, but bold girls do. So, good day to you both, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And one of the things I wanted to mention, just so that everybody's aware and that what we're talking about, maternal mental health refers to a mother's overall emotional, social, and mental well-being, both during pregnancy and after pregnancy. Because, if you've been a parent, if you've had kids around you, if you've known mothers, there are some little change that take place throughout the process and a little after, for some a little longer. But it's something that as females going through motherhood, we understand and we want to highlight the good and some of the stressors that might create challenges. So, why? I'm going to ask you both, lady, why is it important to you to discuss this topic?
I go first.
You can go.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for having us over, and especially motherhood is challenging. And I think I'm going to pour my heart out today. So, and share my personal experiences. Like, no two bodies are alike, no two women are alike, and similarly, no two pregnancies are alike. So,
Mhm.
like you asked, Paula, why is it important to talk about this topic? I'll go with the statistics first. According to WHO, 1 in 3 to 1 in 5 women in India suffer from mental health problems during pregnancy and childbirth. And in India, about 22% of mothers suffer from postpartum depression. Maternal health is real. We can't brush the topic under the carpet anymore, especially in this today only there was very sad news where one father was the court has awarded him punishment because he after the birth of 5 girls he wanted a son, and 2 years back what had happened was he slit open the stomach of his wife to know the gender of the child. So you can imagine how maternal health is important, and it is imperative not only for the general well-being of the lady, the mother. It changes the whole dynamics of the family, and the effect that it has on the children. So
Thank
let's.
you. Hmm, this is so good. This is the part where we sometimes forget because we tend to make it sound as though maternal mental health is just like the mother is just the container for the baby and not a human being that is part of a larger family. But before we get into all of those details, Dr. Ritu, do you want to mention something about this question? For you, why is it important to discuss this topic? Why did you choose to come to this conversation today?
So, discussing mental health, okay, for a mother, and it's very crucial for several reasons. I would highlight like four reasons. First of all, is mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and stress are very common during or after pregnancy. They can affect the well-being of both the mother and child. And second, addressing these issues ensures better health outcomes for the mother because it reduces the risk of several mental health conditions. And the third one, child development. Yeah, absolutely. Child development means early intervention can prevent negative development and behavior outcome in children. It can impact the behavior of the child also after the birth. And the fourth one, like open discussions help reduce the stigma associated with the mental health issues like stress, anxiety. So in this way, a woman can seek help also. Yeah, this is my view.
Thank you, thank you. And as I've mentioned, as you've already heard, there's a few things. There are some signs of mental health challenges during pregnancy and after birth. You've mentioned postpartum depression. We've mentioned stress. We've mentioned anxiety. The idea is often in those conversations we forget that the reality of motherhood creates, as soon as you found out that you're pregnant, there's a thought process behind that starts going, and part of it is not technically what I would say a sign of mental illness, but it's the stress having to think about what you will need to do once that child is there. So I will ask, I'll start with you, Ritu. What are some other signs of mental ill health that you can think of?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely I would highlight some other signs like beside depression, anxiety, or stress, because whenever you are having stress, it's natural that you will lose the appetite also. Okay, you will experience the muscle tension also. You will experience the sleep disturbance and difficulty in concentrating also. And persistently, if you are sad, you will not be able to develop any interest in any activity like earlier you were so you can say keen to paint, okay, to keen to do some embroidery or something, okay, whatever is your passion. But whenever if you are depressed or you are stressed, okay, you will not be able to uh, you will have the lack of interest in any activity. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. On your side, Dr. Avi, is there anything else you wanted to mention in terms of signs that you could notice?
See, unfortunately, when the baby arrives, the entire concentration of the family and everybody goes on the baby. And, in Indian dynamics, families tend to ignore or forget about the mother. So, of course, Dr. Ritu has highlighted the most of the signs and symptoms. But yes, yes, that is the extreme part. But at times, the maternal mental health, it gets affected, especially in the young mothers or the mothers who have given birth for the first time, excessively worrying about the baby, and self guilt or self what do you call it, doubt that whether I will be able to raise this child the way the society wants. So many thoughts, because so many thoughts are cluttering your mind, and that eventually lets bogs you down. And then in a few sad cases, the suicidal thoughts, the thoughts of harming the baby, because when you are having sleepless nights back to back, and your whole physical, psychological, physiological body has gone, system has gone through so much of changes of childbirth, feeling of restlessness, and in most of the cases, that drive of intimacy with your partner also goes away, because that is how it started. So the women starts feeling repulsion or dislike towards that intimacy part, which is the foundation of married life and a relationship.
Thank you for sharing that. And I remember, at least I'll go back to I have young adults. So I mean, it's been a while, but it's this part that I still remember the sense when they give you the baby and you say you can now go home, and also then you have this sense of responsibility, and it's just like, oh, I can't do this, I've never done this, oh, I don't know if I'm going to screw this child up. So there's that, as you mentioned, that self-doubt. And I know you know, I've seen other mothers do it, but all of a sudden, when it's yours, it feels that,
Yes,
oh my God, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. Well,
yes.
you know what? It's the sense where how do I get over that self doubt? How do I get over that sense that it's all or nothing? Because, as you're raising kids, you realize there are times they fall. Okay, they're not dead.
Yes.
That's good. We're fine. It's just the sense of how do we manage those and not and stop going back and overthinking. Because I think it comes, at least for me, being pregnant. I remember during the pregnancy, there was a running list of things that you wanted to do well, and then people were kept asking you, "Are you ready? How do you know it's going to be like?" And it's just like, I have no clue. I've had diplomas, but this one is just like, I feel like I'm underprepared. So that's the individual pressure, there's the society pressure, and sometimes there's the family pressure that comes on top of it. So all of this come and affect that sense of um, the emotional part, I would say, of the motherhood. So I hear you. I hear all of you. I'm going to ask another question because, I'm all about asking questions, and it could be disrupting sometimes, but these are those things that we have and we want to know, is it real or is it not real? What could be the effects of maternal mental health problems? And when I'm thinking about mental health problems, I'm not thinking about those whether the people have diseases already, disorders that are already diagnosed, but also about those other elements that are things I never thought of before. And also then I see myself having those thought process all jumbled in my head. So what could be the effects of those mental health problems on the mother, but also on the baby? Because there's no way it's not affected. Because you're breastfeeding. If you're breastfeeding, that connection is constant. So yeah, I'm
Shall I
gonna
answer?
start with. Oh, you could start, Ritu, and then we'll go to Avi. Next time we'll
Yeah.
start with Avi.
So, first of all, I will highlight about the mother because, yeah, she is the most important person who will take care of the child. So, she has to take care of for the child. She has to take care of her own health also. But if she's suffering from any mental health problem, so she can avoid herself. You can say, in other words, it can be a poor self care, or it can be neglect of prenatal or postnatal care also. Means after postnatal, if she feels any lower back pain, fine, so she will first of all pay attention to her child. Okay, and she will just avoid herself. Okay, because first of all, the child is, you can say, helpless, so she will pay attention on her, or on the child. And it can be like, you can say, it can affect her emotional health also. Like, you can say, it can be the increased risk of chronic depression or anxiety, or it can be relationship issues, or it can be the diminished quality life also. And I will just tell about the baby also. On the baby, how it will affect. It can be, you can say, preterm birth, or you can say premature birth also, or low birth weight, or developmental delays also. Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Aggie?
Dr. Ritu has highlighted most of the points. Yes, we can't alienate maternal mental health from the child's development. That is for sure. So whatever the mother is going through mentally, it is bound to affect the child. In the few cases, case studies which are conducted by NIMHAMS in India, that even the poor quality of breast milk and the low quality of breast milk, even that is connected with how the maternal mental health is. And we generally we think, okay, fine, the probably the mother is too stressed out, she's not happy with the child, or she is overthinking. But nobody gets into a deeper part, and maybe she's fighting some mental issues. That is why she's not able to feed the baby properly. The baby will cry. I mean, the babies are going to sleep anyway, so they cry. So they cry and they cry themselves to sleep. And the grandparents in the family, they start the top feed. So, but nobody really goes into that mechanism why the mother is not able to feed the child.
And I'm hearing this because there's this sense that a mother is supposed to know it all and understand it all, and she'll be on top. And there's thousands of people wanting to volunteer their tips, but sometimes it's like there's too much. So it's this part, how do we find that balance and create that sense that I can take care of my baby, but if I need assistance, is there somebody there to assist me too? And there'll be questions. There's difference in the way we choose to raise the kids. That's when they're older. But when they're babies, there's that sense of, oh, should we give them water, not give them water? Should we introduce food now or not good food? So it's this part, how much of the support do we have outside, and how can we, as you say, pay attention to the mother? Because the idea, if I remember well, when I had my first child, and it's funny because when I had the second and the third, it felt as though, oh, so much easier. And I think the first one was the fact where you were second guessing everything. You're tired, you're so tired, you just want to sleep, and somebody's shaking you. You have to eat. I'm not hungry. You have to eat because you're feeding the baby. And it's just the sense where, as you say, you kind of lose who you are, whether intentional
True.
or unintentional, but all the attention is on the baby. And, to this age, if I'm tired, forget food, I'm just going to sleep. Well, at that age, they're just thinking, no, 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 you're feeding, eat so that you can take care of that. So it's this part of how do we figure out how to make it happen. So, if I was to ask, when we dig a little deeper into the relationship between the mother and the child, especially the bonding and issues when the mother has maybe mental health problems, is there an association between maternal health and later behavioral issues with children? And I don't remember, I think Ritu had started the last one, so I'm going to ask Avi to start this one.
See, I'm a counseling psychologist and I can speak on this. Like I said earlier, everything that the mother goes through during those 3 trimesters, it is going to affect the child. If she's going through a happy phase, of course, the effect will be positive. If she's going through stresses, and not just serious mental health disorders, even if she's going through stresses due to her relationship, marriage, uh, employers, they are going to affect the child in any way. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. There is a relation between maternal mental health and the behavior patterns that are seen in children. Not necessarily those behavior patterns will manifest in something very aggressive. They can be subtle signs. The child may be very fine in the initial years of the development stage. Then later on, he might, develop disabilities, and commonly seen are learning disabilities. And whenever I in school scenarios, when children come to me or the teachers, they refer the children to me, कि, okay ma'am, this child seems to have some kind of learning disability. In India, Dr. Paula, we have this system where the initial checklist is done by the class teachers or the mother teachers, as we call them. And if they do feel कि, okay, this particular child has some kind of, might have some kind of learning disability, so then they refer them to the school counselors. So that is how the students are referred to me. In that case, I did. And most often, the cause of the child having a learning disability is uh, either maternal mental health problem, or some, maybe the mother went through some very difficult period during her pregnancy. So we can't delineate that children with intellectual disabilities or learning disabilities. Uh, I mean, of course, they are correlated. That is what I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Ritu, do you want to add anything to that?
Yes, of course. Like if a mother is emotionally, you can say she cannot regulate her emotions, or emotionally she is so weak. So yes, a child also is unable to regulate her or his emotions, and he can be, you can say, in a behavioral point of view, he can be so much aggressive or hyperactive, or he can be, you can say, isolated with the social society also. And with respect to the cognitive development, he can have the negative cognitive development, means like hatred, okay, and all these kind of negative impacts can be there in his development. And he can be, you can say, cannot develop the healthy relationships with his peer groups. Yeah, that is the main effect.
Thank you. What this reminds me of, when we're talking about both the mental health of the mother and then challenges with the child, and not to say, at this conversation we're talking about mental health mostly, but if there's other problems in the family, in the household, then that too will affect the child.
True, true,
But
true.
the idea is, if I'm having difficulty in a situation, in an environment, let's just say you were talking earlier about this husband who had issues with his wife having 5 kids, and there's friction, there's strife in the family. There's less temptation to spend cuddling moments with the child. There's less temptation to, there's more likelihood that I will withdraw from interaction with others, which in turn leaves that child with that sense that it hasn't been heard, it's not being seen, it's not being loved. And each child will figure out how it's going to model the activity, but definitely there's a connection for me. And I remember in my journey there was this woman who had, she had a diagnosis about, and I can't remember what the diagnosis is from the top of my mind right now, but she didn't like people touching her. So guess what happened to the child? It's hard for her. She would provide the child with the minimum care required, change diaper, feed him, or whichever. But those cuddling moments that we remember and that when we see in movies that look so gorgeous, where everything slows down and it feels like life is perfect with that baby in your arm, that child didn't get that. So that created other issues, as I mentioned, in his development, in terms of the way he interacted with other, being withdrawn and all of those things. And this is the part where sometimes, and I guess that gets me to another question, which to me is so very important. What could be the role of the family around you? What is their role in helping to maintain good mental health for the expectant mothers, but also all the way into preschool years, because we all know the woman is usually the person who's there 24/7. Even if she's not physically there, she'll be on the phone. Have you done this? If we, I've noticed you, we're going to go to the doctors. So there's this constant attention, which is I delivered the baby, but that doesn't mean my job I stopped. So when we look at the whole element, how does it work? How the what would be for you ways that the family could assist in that? And I will
So I would
start
love to
with you.
answer.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would just say yes, a family has the most important role in maintaining a mother's, a wife, or you can say daughter or daughter-in-laws, maintaining the good mental health. Yes, because that time she needs the emotional support. Okay, she needs the support in the household work also. So if you will give the emotional support, so she will not have the feeling of isolation and stress. Am I right? Are you with me?
Mhm.
Yes or no?
Definitely. And there's the
Yeah.
question, and I love that question. What needs to be addressed first? Is it our environment or our social norms? And I will let Avi start with this one, and I suspect we're gonna roll around and have uh, Ritu and myself input on that one too. So, what needs to be addressed first?
So you should have the open communication first of all, okay? And this open communication will just make her feel, you can say, so attached, okay? And the peaceful environment also contribute to the mother's mental health. She'll feel
Mhm.
so attached and so you can say bond, okay, with a family, with the society also. Yeah, and awareness should be there. Okay, so families should have the, you can say, awareness what issues, what condition, what problem she's experiencing. So they should have the, you can say, awareness of all these, you can say, things she's going through. Yeah.
Avi, on your side,
Maternal,
environment or
yeah,
societal norms? Because to me, both play a role.
yeah. Maternal mental health is strongly influenced both by genetic disposition and social environment. We are well aware of. And family members, they are your first line of defense. This is where you go to. So if, like Dr. Ritu said, if they are not going to support you, who is going to support you anyway? And more so, women need to stand up for women in the family. If women start standing up for each other, the society will have to stand by their side. Like simple
True.
practical situation, like solution I want to give you here, then in India, and I think in the rest of the communities and across the world, there is this period of 41 days, uh, which has no religious connotation. It's just that that is a rest period that is most families they provide to the daughter-in-laws or daughters when the mother is recovering. And I feel, yes, it is very scientific. 40 days of rest period when the mother is not allowed to go to the kitchen, because she's nursing the baby day in and I mean morning and evening 24/7. That should be implemented across the board. I mean, every family should implement restrict the visitors. I mean, the child is there. They are anyways going to visit the child today, tomorrow, or maybe after 40 days. So then, secondly, the husbands. Yes, that the partner. Okay, I mean, let me rephrase it. Your partner support is very important. So if
Very
your
important.
partner stands by you, if he takes turns to change the child, I mean wash the child or change the nappies or the diapers, it should not be just restricted to the feminine part of the partnership. Okay, you have taken the feminine role, so you will be doing it. No, he's a parent, and uh, everybody should contribute in raising the child. That's what I feel about it.
So
And
I want to I want to add something here. Okay,
mhm,
so if a mother is having the financial difficulties, so financial management from the husband side can also, you can say, release the burden, okay, emotional burden on the mother. Yeah.
Mhm. And
And she
I
can
find,
she can get the professional help also for that. Yeah.
and I find this is the part where, for me, there's a need for people not only to pay attention but have the conversation. If I think I see her as being withdrawn, or she looks tired, or there's what needs to be done, instead of telling them what they're not doing, what can you maybe contribute towards? If they're, instead of telling them they're not sleeping enough, why don't you say, why don't I take the baby and I'll stay with them in the living room and you go sleep for a couple of hours? And even though she's
True.
worried and she said, oh, no, no, it doesn't know you well, or whichever, she's flat asleep in 20 minutes and she sleep for 3 hours. That's a gift. That's a gift because it's
True.
in uninterrupted sleep and not having to worry about my child not being taken care of. And in that context, it's also understanding there's a resource within the family, but there might be other supports on the outside. And
True.
sometimes support is talking to other females that have gone through things that you have not, especially the first child. And not to say that the second or the third could not bring surprises as well. But it's this part where how do we create that sense of support and network where we can go to. And at times, you might have to go back to the doctor. At times, it might be, you're still not sleeping, you're still anxious, and things like that. Maybe it's medication that we need to think about for a little while. And I know some people would say, no, 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 no medication. It all goes to the child. At one point, we still need to figure out what is required for both the mother and the child. And sometimes, it's funny because my daughter sent me a text actually last night. She didn't know I was doing this today. And then she says, I can hear a baby crying. He's been crying for 3 hours. And what she's saying, it's really hot. And she's not saying that the parents are not taking care of it because she can hear movement, but it's just they're not able to actually quiet the child. And it's not that the ideal is to quiet the child, but it's hot. So it's hot, it's summer, it's those moments where the child cannot maybe process certain things. What are those tips? What are those tools that we can assist? And this is the part where having a supportive surrounding. And I know in my family, when you had a kid, one set of the grandparents, the grandmother on either side would come for a certain amount of time. Then that one would leave and another one would come, so that not everybody is there at the same time. And you get that benefit of additional resources. I don't know how it's done in your household, but trust me, thank you. I couldn't have done it without that.
So I would like to just, when you just talked about the grandparents, so yeah, I would like to highlight the support what I got from my, you can say, father-in-law and mother-in-law, okay, because they are the grandparents of my children. So I can, you can say, visualize the help and the emotional support from my, you can say, father-in-law, specifically, and mother-in-law, yeah, of course, but father-in-law used to just, you can say, give the, you can say, love and affection to my both of the children. Like one has, they both have divided the children, like they were twins, they are twins. So one is, you can say, grandmothers, and one is grandfathers. So grandfather used to take only one child, like he used to give her the good cradle, okay, every time 2 to 3 hours he used to make her sleep, okay. Till then he used to just walk around in the room, and other one was taken care by my mother-in-law. She used to just take her to the walks, okay, to the, you can say, riverside, and both of them used to go with their grandparents long hours. So it was a great emotional health for me, yeah, because my husband used to have long hours job during that time, yeah. So it's very important to have the, you can say, support from the family, yeah.
One last thing, see, since I work with teenagers, the sensitization towards pregnancy, it is important. A few days ago, a bird came in that loft of ours. We have a foyer here and laid an egg. So I got teenagers at home, and this was a sight to see. Okay, Mama, there's an egg there. What do we do about the egg? Oh, whose egg is it? So the sensitization part, that be gentle, even if it is a female bird, be gentle. If there's a
Mhm,
pet female dog in the family, be gentle. The society where I live, so you generally see stray dogs being fed, and then one fine day you see, a female dog heavily pregnant and about to deliver any time. So be gentle. Tell your children ki this dog is going to have babies. Be gentle. Okay, offer food, biscuits, or maybe water.
mhm,
So that will instill that value that we have to respect not only the mothers, the human species. We need to be gentle towards everybody. Even if it is small bird laid an egg, it is okay. Don't throw the egg away. Let the bird hatch. It is going to fly away anyway. So it is not going to
mhm,
spoil your foil or something. It can be cleaned in 3 weeks' time. So let your
True.
children, especially the teenagers, they take them out and I mean have a feel of a small being coming and see, getting a chance to live in the world. So whether it is animals or birds, or even if there's some pregnant lady in the family, uh, do not keep your children away from her. Okay,
mhm,
tell them whatever the age they are, there's age appropriate things that you can tell your child. If you have teenagers at home, boy or girl, tell them, okay, help auntie in, call the lift or open the door. These are small, small, tiny things we can do to sensitize and instill those moral values. I mean, I think if we do our bit, the next generations definitely going to have a better time than most of us had here.
I find it
So I want
interesting.
to, yeah.
Yes,
So I want to
go ahead,
add
Lily.
something in, yeah, additional to your thought, you can say views. So we as a parent should teach our children, teenagers, children, because I am a mother of two teenagers, twins. So I always teach them to just take care of the, you can say, pregnant woman. If you are going to the public places, if she is in the bus, you should get up and let her sit and take care of her. If you have, if she is so thirsty, you should offer her water if you have, or if she's feeling so weak, you should give your lunch box or feed some, you could say, biscuit or whatever you have in your hands. So these small things now make her feel so happy that she is not only taken care by her family, but also there are people around her, okay, in society also, who are there available to take care of her. Yeah.
And I remember, for me, I remember the transition between my firstborn and my secondborn. There was about 5 years between them. So, remembering what it was like right after birth, I remember that I hired a teenager to come every afternoon to my house, take my child, bring it to the a park near my house where they would play and enjoy themselves for about 2 hours or so, and then she would bring the child back. The idea was I could no longer do this with my child. So this the part you don't want her to feel like the baby arrived now. We don't care. So it's this part. What are those other ways of getting assistance while still being able to give the proper care to the newborn? And it's realizing that it doesn't always have to be you. And sometimes, as females, and the way we've been raised, it we get the sense that I'm the only one. Sometimes we even push the husbands away. Let me do it. And then after we complain that they're not doing enough. But it's this part where how do I build in, as I said, that sense of support? I can certain things I pay for, certain others volunteer for it because My grandparents could have come, my children's grandparents could have come and say, we'll take the baby for a week. And it would have been, oh, no, you're not. But then at the same time, if they were staying and they would take the baby for a walk or an outing, they have everything. If the baby is hungry, if the baby needs to, that gives you that sense of relaxation. I can sleep. I can maybe just have cup of tea, just a cup of tea uninterrupted. And then you go back to being a human outside of being the mother. And that's the
True.
part, how do we build in those little moments? And whether it's the siblings, because we might have siblings in our family, or you have teenagers or other people. And it could be things, at least for us in Canada, there are things we pay for. Because, and I said for us in Canada, let's be honest, I chose to move for my work. So where I lived, there was no close family. So because there was no close family, that's why I hired a babysitter. But that was the babysitter that my firstborn loved. So to her, it was a treat. Every time somebody comes and play with me, just me, just me, just me. Forget the baby. So it's this part where they're figuring out how do we take care of every member of the family so that it's a positive family dynamic. And I think asking for help is the best thing you can do, instead of
True.
keeping yourself wondering, why is it that I can't seem to do this. So don't know for you
So
guys.
asking for help, this is a, you can say, is a very good thing in my life. I always ask for help from my daughters because they are teenagers and they can cook little, you can say, Maggie, or they can make tea for me. And two you can say days back, I got hurt. I met with an accident. So when they got to know that mom has met with an accident, they just didn't remove their bag from their back or shoulders. They just ran towards me. They made me comfortable. They hugged me, and then they told me, "Mama, you need a cup of tea. You need some. You can say you need us to apply some balm. Okay, some you can say relaxing." They just massaged my hair. They relaxed me like in whatever way they could do. So yeah, I did not ask for the help that time, but yes, whenever I'm in need, I never feel that I should not ask for help. Yeah, I tell my husband also, please do. Can you do this thing for me? Yeah, he always is ready for me to do. Yeah, so
And I
yeah,
think
it's good.
that's the part for me, and I don't know for you guys. And let's talk about being what we have learned as graduated mothers versus newborn mothers. I have learned that when my firstborn my first child was born, I was under the impression that everything laid on me. I had to do it all. And then by the time I got the second, it was just like, oh, let's spread the love. Let's figure out who else can actually help you. You still select the people. You don't give them out to strangers, but it's just this sense of how do we organize ourselves and ask for help. And I think that's in some situation. I'm not going to say it's in all situation. In some situation, we can be as female wanting to do it all, we can be our own worst enemy. And I'm not talking about anyone who has mental health problems. If you have mental health problems, the first thing you need to do is check with a doctor and figure out what are the best way to move forward. And it's this part when uh, at least I find when I became a mother, it felt like that extension of me went so wide. It's like a web that I was touching almost the whole neighborhood, it felt. And when everyone was taken care of, this is where you say, okay, now I can go to get some rest. So I don't know for you guys, if you had to give advice to a newborn, no, sorry, to a new mom with a newborn, what would be one best advice that you would give them?
See, Dr. Paula, the only advice that I would like to go give to the young mothers is take it easy. Enjoy every phase of your children. When they are lab babies, you want them to grow up overnight so you can have a better life or something, but the stresses, they don't end, they never end, and that is what we have signed up for. We wanted motherhood for ourselves, we wanted parenthood for ourselves. Nobody forced that on us. So let's enjoy the every phase, and
Mhm,
you will bounce back emotionally, physically. Don't be in a rush to go back to the figure that you had before motherhood. It's okay, enjoy this phase. You can always reach out to health specialists and diet specialists, but this baby is one day it's going to grow up and it is never going to sit in your lap and you're going to miss that time. So, only advice to all the mothers who are on Facebook and watching this show, take it easy, breathe easy. Not every time you get so much of pamper, you don't get pampered by in laws and husbands. So, just relax, sit back, and enjoy the ride.
thank you.
I would add one thing. Listen to music, do whatever you want. Okay, your baby is there, okay, with you. Don't worry. One day she or he will grow up, okay, and will give you the care and you can say relaxation as we are getting now. Because yeah, it's a phase we had also experienced and we enjoyed a lot. We did not get, you can say, so much frustrated, and we were so enjoyable. I enjoyed the phase a lot. Yeah, so we have to be little relaxed and let it be. The home is not clean, it's okay. Nobody is there to just tell you to clean it now only. But no, you have the tension, okay. So train your mind to get relaxed, okay. The things will not, you can say, will be done, okay, now or later on, no problem. Take your time, give yourself a time, enjoy the phase, and be cheerful.
I like what you said, both of you, and I remember it was interesting. I had a conversation with my then husband about I think the children. We had three kids by that time, and I had a conversation where I can't do all of this and still take care of the house, cook, and all of those things. So I remember saying, I think we need to get a maid. And he said, that's not necessary. There's not a lot of cleanup. Let me do it. And then about 2 weeks later, if that long, he says, I think it's a good idea to get. And I'm like, yes. And that's the part. It's understanding that there are little things that you can apportion to other people. And remember, in the end, what you're going to value. And that's for me, that's the thing whenever I think about exiting this world. On my deathbed, I want no regrets. So I don't want to be thinking on my deathbed, I should have cleaned this room. I want to think I should have spent more time. So I want to spend as much time with the things that have value, my family, my kids, their growth, their tears, their stress, whatever it is. You want to spend the proper amount of time on this rather than saying, the yard is clean, the neighbor should be happy. Don't it? Don't it? If you're doing
Same,
it for
I
yourself,
whatever
great.
you
If
are
you're doing
saying,
it for your
no.
mental health, yes.
Yes, same. I always feel the same thing. See, because my children are now going to choose their, you can say, career after 3 years. So I have only, you can say, I feel I have 3 years only. So I don't think about the room, this and that. I always try to spend time with my daughters because I know now after 2 years or 3 years or after 5 years, they will not be with me. And then I should not have the regret. Ki I just was doing this thing, keep it clean this room, arrange your clothes, this and that, why this is not right, that is not right, or not in the proper place. So I never do all these things. I always spend my time with my husband, with my family, with my children also, and I always manage all these things. Yeah, when they go to school, I manage everything. I always manage the time. Okay, yeah. So everything is managed if I we manage the time. Yeah.
So
So
it's
there. So there is this meme on Instagram, Dr. Paula. You must. It's like hold my beer, okay? So it's now the meme is now if a young mother comes to me and says, "Avi, oh my God, baby is only 3 months old and she's already fed up that I want to tell her, okay, hold my beer." So one day when your children will be teenagers, oh God, you don't know that phase. It's the toughest. And I have friends whose children are now married and they want to tell me, hold my beer. Because even when the children get married, things don't simplify, they don't become easy. Something or the other, someone or the other, it is always there. So we can't do anything about it. Only thing is, as mothers, just sit back and enjoy.
Uh-huh. And I think that's the best thing, at least for me. For the first 2 or 3 years of being a mother, it was so hard. It was so hard. It felt that nothing will ever end. And when I said nothing, it's just like you would start dishes, and it felt they were dishes for days. There were only three of us. One of them didn't eat. But it's this sense where everything, because you were so tired, it felt like everything was dragging forever. And now when I think back and I look at my children's growth and now they're young adult, as I mentioned, I am just starting to reap the benefits. The time, the conversation we have, the exchange, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is, we just laugh it out when we're done. And it's like, oh, so now what are we going to do? And that's the relationships. In the end, it is about the relationships. Can I help them get to that best version of themselves while still also getting to that best version of myself? And that's all you, at least that seems like so very simple. We each have to find our balance. Yes. Anyway, ladies, I think
True.
we on this note, unless someone wants to mention something, I think we could say it's a wrap. Anyone wants to add anything? Good.
Ablokita?
I had a fun time. Of course, the topic was a little grim, maternal mental health. But Dr. Paula, you made it so interesting. And Dr. Ritu, thank you so much for your insight. Yes, I gave inputs, but I learned a lot. So it is a privilege. I'm happy. And I know there are two more mothers who struggle like me.
Ah,
So I'm at peace. I'm not the only one.
yes, yes,
So,
yes, and
thank
and and it's good to know, because I think there are pockets of time as a mother, especially in the middle of the night, where you're thinking, this can't be going like this for the rest of my life, and we're just happy to tell them it will not keep going like this for the rest of your life. Enjoy the moment, let aside those little darker periods, and then just enjoy that new being in your arms.
True.
So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Paula. Thank you
pleasure.
so much, Ablokita. It was a nice topic.
thank you.
We
Thank
just
you so
expressed our experience here. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you from
Same
India, Dr.
here.
Paula. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ritu.
Same
likewise.
here.
So I believe we can just leave the studio and we're